live here live at the Party Blast in downtown Saratoga. I want to thank everybody for coming out to our pre-Travers Day show. A couple of things to discuss before we start. As you're probably aware, we're having a show, Nashville Comes to Races, after this, and a $25 donation. You can stay for Nashville Comes to Races, supporting a good cause, the Giving Circle. It also includes a raffle draw for a Travers box. So, you know, people say the Travers box is on the finish line, you get there, and it's like in Malta. This Travers box is actually about 10 feet after the finish line. I know it. And also a raffle for 4 Legend Suite tickets for Yankee Stadium as well. So additional raffle tickets can be purchased. It's $25, gets you a raffle, gets you in. You can get additional tickets for 20 for 1, 40 for 3, 50 for 4, etc., etc. You want to try to get that box. You want to stay. It's going to be a fun event as well. We're going to have some really good stuff going on here. And we've got good stuff here tonight. Eddie Olczyk is going to be joining us a little bit later. Probably familiar with Eddie Olczyk, hockey player, hockey announcer, as well as working for NBC Sports. They'll be covering the Travers this weekend. And perhaps we'll have other people joining us later. But right now, we've got a very good friend of mine joining us. The one and only Dale Romans. Dale, thanks for joining us. Yeah, well, you know, by the way, the best show we've done, hands down, in the 4 years was when Alan Jerkins came here. And I imagine some of you were lucky enough to be here. It was a great night. That night could not have happened if it wasn't for you, Dale. And so we owe everybody here owes you a big thanks for that.
But let me tell you, racing owes a big thanks because it was a great night. Now, let me tell the backstory on that. You called me and said, Alan and I were very close at No Bad. And Andy called and said, can you get the chief to come on? He won't come. So I had to talk to him, talk him into coming. The chief was very regimented. He went to bed at the same time every night, about 8 o'clock. I promised him I'd be home by 9:30. When I went to pick him up, he said, do we really want to go do this? And I said, the chief, you got to go. He gets in here, and all of you over here, standing room only. And he was, believe me, he was taken back. He never realized how great he was, or how respected he was, or that he was the chief. He gets up here with Andy, 83 years old, hit it out of the park. Everything. It was the best show I've ever seen in horse racing.
Great night.
But he had made me demanded I have him home by 9:30. I pull the car up here to the door, take him out, put him right in the car. He looks at me and says, you know, Jerry Bailey was on after me. He wrote a lot for me. We really should have probably stayed. That was you son of a bitch.
Yeah,
but it was a great night. We lost him this winter. It was a big loss for anybody who was a friend, who he was a mentor to. But a big loss to racing.
It was a big loss to racing, but he was such a gigantic gain for racing that, you know, a man who touched the lives of just thousands and thousands, endless numbers of people in horse racing.
One of the few people that I've ever seen that wanted to bully everybody up. I never heard him say a bad word about a person, that helped everybody, was truly happy for anybody who had success.
Yeah, and a man who helped people wanting nothing in return, and nobody will ever know all the people whose lives he touched.
All the riders, he'd holler and scream about jockeys. Was everybody think I can help them? I just start them all, and then he'd name them all. One of our friends worked for him 25 years ago. He told me, he said, he fires us all every day, none of us leave.
And they all stayed around to the end. A lot of them are still around the racetrack. Let's talk about you. How's your summer going?
You know, summer at Saratoga's been a little different. Summer's been good at Ellis Park. Everybody watches Ellis Park. You know, the dynamic up here has changed a lot. The racing's changed, you know, through the 5/8 sprint up here. September, Kentucky has gotten a lot stronger.
Kentucky Downs, especially.
Kentucky Downs, 120,000 our main races. Churchill Downs running instead of Turfway Park. So the dynamic of us Kentuckians being here, we haven't had the impact that we used to have. And I think it's just a shifting sands in Kentucky and a different type of racing here. You can bring 2-year-olds, you can bring stake horses, but they're tough to win. And everything in between has been, you know, minor racing is not worth shipping up here for. But we all still come. You have to be here. I say it's like having a box store, and you have a store in Manhattan, you're going to lose money in your Manhattan store, but you got to be there.
Yeah, you got to be in Saratoga. But, you know, you talk about the 2-year-olds, and you've obviously had some great success with 3-year-olds, and we'll talk about Keen Ice in a couple of minutes, but what is your philosophy with 2-year-olds? Because some people want to win in Saratoga with their 2-year-olds first time out. Is that really good for a horse in the long run?
Well, the statistic that I think is most telling is the last horse to win the Kentucky Derby, to break the maiden on the dirt at Saratoga, was Winning Colors in 1988. I think it's such a difficult thing to do. You're running against the best. And times have changed where people have shifted the way they think about race. They want to win first time out of here. Instead of just letting their horses develop, you run them 80% fit, they get better and better. I started leaving my best 2-year-olds at home a long time ago, and I've always said if they're good enough, nobody cares. Will they break their maiden? If they're not good enough, they can't win a Saratoga anyway. So we kind of left them behind. There's great two-year-old racing here, great horses, but I feel like it didn't fit my program.
Well, I mean, there's so many different ways, obviously, to get to where you want to go. And I mean, you're somebody who, you as much as anyone in the game, and maybe this is something you learned from the chief, you're willing to take a shot, put yourself in a position where someone could say, oh, he embarrassed himself, but you've obviously won enough big races, sometimes with some improbable horses, that no one can say Dale Romans doesn't belong in this race.
Well, you know, when I ran third in Belmont was major. The criticism ahead of time was major. He proved me right. No one's got. He proved me right to be there. He ran third. Well, Ken Ranchi on the sire, he on the mare, he on the brothers and sisters. And when the water rises, all the boats rise. It ended up being a major windfall. But you know what got me started thinking more like that? Was one day here, one of my first years ever being at Saratoga, the guy started screaming off the balcony, go back to Ellis Park where you belong, you're burning up money. And I got a red face, wanted to hunt him down, wanted to beat him to a pulp. I go in the race, I couldn't find him, luckily, he probably would have been. But I went in the racing office, I'm sitting there, the next race, Wayne Lucas walks in, laughing. I said, what is so funny? He said, well, guy just started yelling at me, go back to quarter horses, you're burning up money. Go back where you're going. And I started looking at the two different ways that we looked at it, and it clicked. And then so he started telling me, he said, you got to judge yourself over 5-year increments. You'll go crazy, race by race, meet by meet. And as we're walking out, he said, I'm going to tell you something else. Don't let the press place your horses. I've made millions of dollars running where they said I didn't belong.
Well, you know, it's funny. I remember when you ran Little Mike in the Turf Classic at Belmont before he won the Breeders' Cup, the first, before he'd really done that much. And
a Joe Hirsch,
trainer, Joe Hirsch Turf Classic, right? And I remember a trainer who I know, smart guy, said to me, "Why is Dale running this horse's race?" And I said, "I don't know. He's crazy. He's crazy." And we were right because the horse ran terribly. So then a month later, he won the Breeders' Cup Turf. And I saw the trainer and I said, you know, we laughed at Dale, and he ran last or fifth or whatever in the Joe Hirsch Turf Classic. We laughed at him, but you have to admit, you'd be the first one in, and I would never have bet him in a million years, but you wouldn't have run him in the Breeders' Cup Turf, would you? He said, no, I wouldn't have, and Dale got the money.
That's a strange story. You know, I was one for the mile. I ran him in the Joe Hirsch, and it didn't work.
It was soft that day.
It was soft that day. And I was thinking, he quit so early that it wasn't the distance. It had to be the turf conditions. He was doing too well going into the race. So it wasn't a mile and a half that cost him the race. He quit after 7/8 of a mile. And at least if it was a distance, he'd have made it to a mile. So in my mind, I'm thinking, and I was going to run in the mile in the Breeders' Cup, and I got to think, I can't beat Wise-David. We can't win that race. The night before entry, I decided, I'm going to run in the mile and a half. To throw out the Joe Hirsch, he just won the $1 million mile and a quarter. And then we enter, and we start handicapping. I can't win it on the lead, like everybody thinks we're going to. There's too much pace in the race. So I told Ramon in the paddock, lay third, like you're on the lead. Just get in the rhythm. Hopefully it stop in front of you. You inherit the lead at 8-4 and ride that area. It might be the greatest race any jockey ever rode a horse.
Oh, I agree. You're one of the greatest riders of all time and one of the greatest races he ever ran. An amazing day. You know, it's funny. I think Little Mike will be remembered by horse players as having knocked more horse players out of more pick 3s and pick 4s when he won that race, when he won the Arlington Million.
They said
I never believed it.
They said he couldn't go a mile and 1/8 in the horse. They said he couldn't go a mile and a quarter in the Arlington Million, and he couldn't go a mile and a half in the Classic. He proved everybody. He was a phenomenal horse. Let me tell you a quick story about Ramon. So I walk out of here, out of Saratoga 2 years ago. The first year they had all the great jockeys here. And he's like a kid in a candy store after he retired. He said, I was just talking to Cito, Georgie, and Angel, and Full of Feet. He said, it's crazy, but listening to their stories, do you realize you're every bit as good as every one of them you just talked to? He had no idea.
He was amazing.
But he stopped me. He said, you know, I think you're a little biased because we did something great together.
No, we weren't biased.
No,
we saw, here's the problem. You and I saw the other guys ride. He never really saw the other guys ride. We did. And they were good, but they were
as good as anybody ever sat on the back of a horse.
An amazing rider, an amazing person as well. I mean,
as good as they get.
Right, really one of the true great guys in the game. An amazing combination of those two. I want to talk to you some more, Dale, but we're going to have to come into a break first. So stay with us as we come right back. At the Post Live is brought to you by Capital OTB. As we come back, let us remind you that At the Post Live, Serling on Saratoga is coming to you live from the Parting Glass Pub in downtown Saratoga and is presented by Naira. Wager on Naira.com, Naira's new state-of-the-art wagering interface. Once again, reminding people $25 donation to stay at Nashville comes to the races and support a good cause, the Giving Circle. Includes a raffle draw for a Travers box as well as a raffle for 4 Legend Suite tickets to Yankee Stadium. Additional raffle tickets can also be purchased. Stick around, there's a lot more going on here. We're back. My friend Dale Romans is still with us. Anybody, if they see Eddie Olczyk walking around, let me know. Bring Eddie up. when Dale's had enough to say, but Dale's got a lot to say. Let's talk a bit about American Pharoah from your perspective. I don't know about you, Dale. I didn't believe that when everybody said, oh, a Triple Crown winner is going to do so much for racing, I didn't believe it. But it seems to me it really has had an amazing effect.
I was always of the belief that we needed a Triple Crown contender going into Belmont more than we needed a Triple Crown winner.
Me too.
But I wasn't around much in 1970. I was pretty young. I was a lot younger than you in 1978.
You've aged. You've caught up to me.
Yeah, well, only in calendar years, right? But it has been phenomenal. The number of people that's drawn to the game, just to watch that he has to walk through the racetrack and back. When he went to Churchill after the Belmont, the guards.
20,000 people.
It's crazy. It was crazy just to watch him parade around the paddock. Let me tell you a good story about Pharoah. I went with Mr. Zayat to watch all his babies train in Ocala when Pharoah was a 2-year-old. None of them had ever breathed. We watched 60 horses go 4 to the mile. He went down through there, and I turned to Zayat as Tammy was with me, and she said the same thing. That's the best horse we've ever seen.
Really?
And yes. And so, first time out, I bet $200 on it. I'm going to bet 200 Saturday because that's the only race you ever lost.
Right.
Maybe we can make it happen again.
You really bet him?
Yeah, first start. Because I literally had never seen a horse breathe a quarter of a mile the first time like he did.
You know, I'm a cynic, as you know, and you know, he was one of these horses that people were telling me, oh, it doesn't matter, he works like the greatest thing you've ever seen, and I just poo-pooed it. I got to admit, his last race in the Haskell might have been one of the most impressive races I've ever seen.
We were about to catch him a little bit further. I had him.
Really? How much further? A couple of years.
Right.
From there?
But no, every race has been good. The Derby was the best for me because he did go. I thought so. He beat 20 horses. He didn't go to the lead. He overcame a little trouble, and he still grinded out to win. But it wasn't his best effort. He still wins. The other 2 races, he dominated, and he dominated the field in the Haskell. The Haskell's better, like you say, it's a better race than everybody might see. Everybody sees him pulling up, but he really had to work the first 7 8 miles.
He flipped up, started off the way like he was a gnat.
Yeah.
I mean, these are good horses. They were
good
not bad
horses. These were good horses. Upstart's a good horse, and they took it to him. You have to give them credit. They tried to beat him. They didn't try to lag for second like some people
I
did.
agree.
They went after him. They pressured him, and he had a tough 7 8 to a mile race. Now he got the gear down last day for a mile, but that's hard for a horse to do.
So here's my question. What can happen differently on Saturday that because Keen Ice is a horse, he's a typical horse by you. He had, decent races in Triple Crown Travel, nothing to get excited about. He had a ton of trouble in the Derby. I mean, who knows what he could have done if he had gotten clear. And now we'll be talking about American Pharoah in Triple Crown.
Right, American
Right, Keen Ice would love Triple Crown.
Right, because Bob wasn't running back to the previous, he was going to different.
Right, he loved the mud.
It's been a bit different.
Right.
But Johnny looks over full down on my horse, and now we have a Triple Crown.
He should have been second in the belt. I thought Kent gave him a terrible night that day. I thought he gave up on him.
What else do you want to talk about?
So he's getting closer all the time. What's going to happen Saturday that can make a difference?
Everybody knows if American Pharoah runs his best race, there's not a 3-year-old in the country, and only one filly that's going to give him be a contender against him anywhere. If everybody runs at their best, but these are organic animals.
Right.
He's had a rough year. He's had a tough year, and if it's had any wear and tear on him, if he's coming to the Graveyard of Champions, it's a tough racetrack to run on for the first time without training on it. Plus we're going a little further, and my horse is on an uptick.
I agree.
And where does Pharoah go from that last race? Can he keep going up?
I don't know. He's an amazing horse. It's almost like a wind-up to him.
And maybe he can. And if he does, I'll tip my hat to him because he just keeps getting better.
I agree.
Where's the top?
Let me ask you a question. So all the enthusiasm right now for American Pharoah. And
by the way, to this, I've already factored 20% of 1.6 million just in case. That's second place now.
$320,000.
Right.
What do you get on that? You don't get it. I get your full rate on that.
No, I get 12%.
Second.
No, I get 12%.
Do you really?
If they make $1, I make 12 cents.
Really? Yeah. Really? Is that why Jake's here? Is that why the kids are coming this weekend? They're looking for a piece?
They're all about the credit cards.
Yeah, well, that's all right. Because one of them's staying with me.
Right.
Turns out. And I got the good one. I don't get stuck with him.
Right.
Okay. They all think Jake is the good one. I got big. So, what about? Let's talk about racing. There's a lot going on in racing. We hear a lot of issues that you and I don't necessarily agree with. What do you think the number one issue facing horse racing is right now?
Revenue flows. I think that the ADWs and the people taking their handhelds and laptops into racetracks and betting over the internet, where at Churchill Downs, I can speak for that pretty well. We get 54% of any dollars sent through the window.
You're part of Churchill? You're working for Churchill now?
No. The purse account It's 54% of anything going to take out, send through the window. When people go in, as Churchill encourages them to do, and they bet through Twin Spires, we can only get 33%. And they get the rest. And that's the biggest issue.
Even though they own Twin Spires.
They own Twin Spires, so they get it all.
Now, of course, we have Naira.com.
Naira's different because Naira can do whatever they want because they're grandfathered in from the 78 Wires Act. They don't have to have a contract with their horsemen. But they give a lot of money from the casinos and from the pari-mutuel, and we have great purses. But if we had the same contract here that we have at Churchill now, purse would be double.
Purse would double in New York?
In New York. Or not with, I'm talking the pari-mutuel side. Would be closer.
Because of the handle. So what do you think we should do to make that better?
We've got to start being able to track GPS on people who have the computers and handhelds. And when they're on the racetrack or within a certain radius around a racetrack, it counts as a wild wager.
And we need to know our customers better.
We need to know our customers.
Well, that's what we're trying to do now.
What else has happened is, we've always tried to hide the gamblers, like they've been in the shadows, and this isn't a gambling game, but this is all about gambling. And the gamblers are starting to come out of the shadows, and they're proud to be horse pari-mutuel players, as they should be. It's a great sport. It's a thinking man's game. It's not where you sit there and pull a slot machine mindlessly every day. And I always say, with gamblers, it's not about winning money. It's about being right.
That's where I am.
And you walk around your peer group.
I've been wrong about this stuff. It's not about being wrong.
Well,
but I agree. No, I agree. It's about being right. Listen.
Because otherwise, why would a wealthy man go play horses?
Right.
He wants to do the math. He wants to be right. He wants all the buddies to clap for him when he wins.
It's an intellectual pursuit. It's not, as you say, pulling a slot machine. And I think racing doesn't do as good a job in some ways of embracing that because you'll hear owners, and owners are extremely important as well. The two people that put their money into the game are owners and bettors. You would say that?
Yeah.
Really?
Everyone else takes profit. Terry Finley put it best: owners and bettors put their money in, and the rest of us are feeding at the trough. And you got to take care of both of those factions, and we have to make sure that the revenue flows are going to the right places. The ADWs are my biggest concern. We're playing poker when we play ADWs, and they're cutting the pot 33%. It never comes back into the economy of racing.
I completely agree.
Everybody was talking about Lasix and medications. The sport is run cleaner today than ever in history. We have the best, most sophisticated testing. We have one race day medication that's permissible anywhere in the country, and that's Lasix that stops horses from hemorrhaging internally. I'm a big pro-Lasix. If someone's anti-Lasix, I don't have a problem with it. Let's sit down and work out things and we'll figure out what's best for the horse. We've got to put the horse first, gambler and owner second.
Let me ask you a question. Uniform medication policies. Do you think the industry is close to getting there? I think that's a very important issue. I think every state should be the same. It's just fair for the connections as well as the horse players.
I don't think it's important as some other issues.
I would agree with that.
And other people, we drive different driver rules in different states. Is it different for a horse that's run 20-degree temperatures in New York or 100-degree temperature in Florida? Maybe they need different medication policies.
Fair enough.
And if we're going to do one medication policy, let's do every rule the same. Let's don't have a place that can't hook up the same owner trainer entries, but another state that can, that ships into another state that doesn't, and we all bet. Let's make the rules the same, top to bottom.
But we should get rid of a couple of entries. That's clear.
Well, different owner entries should be uncoupled.
What about same owner?
Same owner, I don't have a problem with them coupled. But very few of them ever get to get in because of oversized fields.
Yeah, there's another barrier on
We're
couple
boring
entries.
these people, Let's
Are
get
we
them
boring
find
them?
something. Yeah.
All right. So what's Kenai's going to do today?
He's going to run the best races ever run. He's going to break from the gate. If the pace is slow, then have it close, because he can do that. If the pace is fast, he'll sit back like he did in Haskell and come running. I'd like to hook Farrell to 8 fold, just fight for home. I don't know if we could ever beat him, but I'd like to get a chance at it. But we haven't been able to get to him yet.
I hope you get a chance. I hope you get there. I'm going to let you go.
Not ready.
Okay.
I got a lot to talk about.
Now, Eddie Olchek's here. He's in the back. He's waiting to come up here.
Eddie, you really want to come up
I think
here?
Eddie get up here, Eddie.
Eddie gets paid to talk about horse racing. You're not going to pay him.
I'll pay. What do you want? How much do you need? I know it's been a tough week for both of us.
Andy, thanks. I want to tell everybody, there's two groups. You either hate Andy or you love him. I happen to be in the group that love him. I appreciate what you do for the game and the passion you show.
I appreciate that, Taylor. There's only one group for me, the people who love him. And I'm in that group. So,